Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is actually the first time you guys are seeing my face, so I will kindly redirect you guys to my bio, where it says that I just make stuff that interests me, or sometimes, in this case, university assignments. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sage, and welcome to this new series where I talk about linguistics terminology and concepts in a easier to digest way, and it's a bit more consumable, using them in regards to K-pop and fan media and fan culture. Using these type of things as examples. K-pop and other fan media really got me through both of my degrees, so I think that I'm a little bit qualified to teach you guys about these. But hopefully it's helpful for you as it was for me. Today, we're going to be discussing discourse communities. What are they? How are we a part of them? How is BTS Army a discourse community? Keep watching to find out. First things first, let's define what a discourse community is. A discourse community it's not very well defined. It's a concept of ideas rather than it being like a structured thing. And there are a few different people who kind of argue about what it could possibly be. Some people say that discourse communities are a group of people who share goals and common interests and communicative means to pursue these goals. Some people say it's a group of people that are bound by a certain interest and they use different types of media and mechanisms to achieve these goals. Pretty much everyone who's in like the world of discourse communities, they agree on one thing. People can commit to more than one discourse community in their life, and they can be a part of many at a single time, whether this be personal ones like BTS Army, academic ones like being a Macquarie University alumni, or maybe a postgraduate linguistics student, or even some more public ones like being a shopkeeper at my local mall. The term discourse community, it actually originally arose as a sort of argument towards speech communities, which is a term that's been used in sociolinguistics for years. Speech communities are not the same as discourse communities, which is why this division came apart. Speech communities, you are born into them. 99% of the time, you share the same religious beliefs, you share the same first language, you share the same culture, the same way of living. Everything is the same in a speech community. However, if you are part of a discourse community, you actually choose to be a part of that. They're entirely chosen by the things that you like and the things that you engage with, as well as things like choosing a certain university to apply to when you finish your HSC. Additionally, discourse communities are worldwide, and members normally speak multiple different languages, do not share the same cultural values, and rarely share the same religious beliefs. A lot of the time, discourse community members are only similar with the fact that they are following the discourse community that you are part of. There may be members in your discourse community that are nothing alike to you. The only thing that is even seemingly similar is the fact that you guys both stand Jimin. Swales says the discourse communities have kind of always been a thing. We just didn't have a name for it before, which is why this distinction between speech communities and discourse communities have been so important in the development of discourse communities as a whole. One of the most notable names in discourse community literature is John M. Swales. He's literally the king, a goat, some would say. Swales came up with a bunch of conventions that discourse communities need to follow in order to be classified as a discourse community. And pretty much everybody just took those and ran with it, even though he made these up in 1990. And Swales himself even commented on how insane it was that people just took these at face value 20 years later in a paper he wrote in 2016. Swales kind of further goes into this distinction between speech communities and discourse communities because he talks about how discourse community members normally are from distant means, and they link up in order to exchange communication, exchange interaction based on the shared interests that they share for socialization purposes. Nothing else. And this is something important. Sometimes things are not purely academic based, they're also just for fun and social stuff. Now, I know what you're thinking. What are these 6 rules that Swales came up with? Well, let me tell you. As I said earlier, Swales came up with these in 1990. That's a long time ago. They're even older than me. But he did revise them in 2016, so I'm going to kind of be talking about them, both the original ones and the revised versions, in the same section, just because some of them are incredibly outdated. I'm going to be using Army as an example for this, just so it makes a bit more sense, for me and for you. Firstly, a discourse community has a broadly agreed upon set of goals. Now, these goals don't have to be the same for each member. Sounds strange, but stay with me. Some Army are insane about streaming numbers, right? I mean, I'm sure you guys saw the mass amount of tweets about trying to make Echo go #1, even though it was released just a few days ago. And there are like countless of Spotify playlists dedicated to each and every member of BTS trying to get certain songs as many streams as possible. But not all ARMY want to listen to the same song over and over again. Sometimes they want to go listen to some old albums or stuff that isn't just BTS. Just because they're not following that main goal doesn't mean that they're not a part of the Discourse community or the fact that they're not supporting BTS. For some ARMY, posting videos and clips from YouTube content or content on Disney Plus is their goal for sharing the word of BTS and making sure that other people join the cause. Sometimes it's producing fan media, such as fan fiction or fan art. For some people, it's collecting different anthems. And for some people, it's collecting photo cards to trade or just to keep the funds. Now, these goals are visible to everybody, even people who aren't ARMY or even aren't a part of the Discourse community in general. A Discourse community has mechanisms of intercommunication among its members. This is the part where Swales talked about like newspapers and stuff in 1990, but now the digital age of social media has brought us the game changer for intercommunication with Discourse communities. We have my love Twitter. We also have Blue Sky. We have Weverse. We have Tumblr. We have all these amazing things at our fingertips to talk about BTS. So while we have these amazing online communication forums, we of course have our traditional face-to-face events like our cafe run cup sleeve events and concerts, random meetups to celebrate a birthday of a member, things like that. Engaging in fan media via Archive of Our Own or DeviantArt, if that's even still a thing, is a great way of enabling this intercommunication between different members, especially if they're from completely different worlds. For example, these tweets are not in English, but they are reached by every single ARMY who uses Twitter. How amazing is that? You need to know that if you aren't engaging in communication between Discourse members, you aren't a part of the BTS ARMY. You aren't a part of that Discourse community. Swales talks about this, how you can kind of order like a subscription package or a membership kit for a group. But if you never open up that subscription package, you are not engaging and you are not a part of that group. You can't just sit on your shelf and be like, yeah, I'm part of this group. That doesn't work that way. Talking about mechanisms, we're specifically using them in ways to gain information and therefore provide feedback, especially when it comes to new members discussing communication with older members. Have you ever worn a band t-shirt out in public and someone has sneered at you asking if you can name even 3 songs by that band? This is kind of what we're talking about. In respect to ARMY, this is about people who listen to BTS and people that listen to BTS. I'm talking to people that understand the Lexis, people that understand the game the way that the rest of the ARMY do. When you're reading about Discourse communities, you normally see the word discourse and genre holding hands. This is because they're quite tightly interwoven. Discourse communities possess a certain amount of genres to get their point across, to delve into communications, and especially to make people know what the common interest is within the group. For ARMY on Twitter, this is like the Twitter threads and links to websites about shipping and dynamics and where you can find like all of the old media to become better ARMY. The way that these genres are used within ARMY, it kind of like garners information and like compares them against other Discourse communities online. One of my personal favorite genres within this Discourse community is live tweeting. Whether it be the latest episode of Ike Maja or the new music video for Don't Say You Love Me, live tweeting is an amazing way of gaining interaction from members from the Discourse community and even getting new members at the same time. Now is the fun part. Now we get to talk about number 5. Discourse communities acquire their own personalized Lexis. If you're unfamiliar, Lexis is kind of like vocabulary, meaning ARMY has a bunch of words that make sense majority just to them. The aim of this is to ease communication, or in some cases online to evade censorship or easy searching for certain things, as well as make it very clear to outsiders who is and who isn't ARMY. An outsider should not be able to look at a genre by ARMY and kind of understand every single word that's happening in it. Some delightful examples of this Lexis for ARMY is of course Borahae, Apabangpo, and the things kind of go on. This like specific Lexis can also be words that already exist but have been recontextualized in like the eyes of ARMY. I'm talking about like the member emojis that you see when you're looking at tweets from translations or just quoting funny videos that have been circulating for a while. These types of lexes are super important important for discourse communities because they can bridge the gaps of communications that may form from members being from different backgrounds and not sharing the same language. Out of the original 6 rules that Swales came up with in 1990, this one is in much simpler terms than what is on the screen right now. Is a discourse community contains a multitude of members who share a certain knowledge within the group. Being an army for the duration of time, they know how to speak and they know how to interact online within the discourse community because they are a part of a discourse community. As I said previously, Swales added 2 additional rules in 2016 when he revisited his article. He discusses how discourse communities have a sort of silential relations, where members can say things without saying the exact words, such as this picture of a cat. The last rule is how discourse communities harbour a sort of expectations for the way that members are within the community. There is a way to act, and there is a way to speak, there is a way to read how things are written, and there is a way how to properly engage with the fan media. If you follow these expectations, boom, congratulations. I talked about Swales a lot in this video, but there are some other influential names in the field that have some important things to say, such as Woodward Cron, who lament about how discourse communities are not static. They are their own thing and essentially mini ecosystems. And not every single discourse member is exactly the same, and not every single discourse community is the same in itself. Now, in discourse communities, there is this sort of probationary period where a member needs to ask questions and kind of feel out the discourse community before they actually commit to it. This could be just listening to different eras of music, to Fall for School, to the Love Yourself era before the English songs. Or this could be asking a pre-existing member of the discourse community, which member of BTS take hookahs? The use of social media and the modern cell phone is glorious for Googling what a Namgi is and why House of Cards is so important. You can choose to enter a discourse community and choose to leave it whenever you wish, though there will always be a part of you that is connected to this discourse community. That's pretty much all I can say for a brief introduction of discourse communities. I yapped a lot about a few different people, so if you want to do some of your own research, please do check out what I've sourced for you right here. I'm also going to put it down to the description if you want to just copy and paste those DOIs to download the papers yourself. Thank you for listening to my spiel. Oh my god, you're still here. Hi! Yeah, that's me. Yapping about what makes me happy, but also kind of in line to try and get a good grade. Let me plug the rest of my content now. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and a comment. Tell me what you liked about it. Tell me what you didn't like about it. I've got a few other articles that I wrote in my bachelor's degree that I kind of want to make into videos as well. So if you enjoy linguistics, if you enjoy emoji usage online, if you enjoy social media and how it can be used to teach English, let me know. And I'll record those videos too for you. If you like gaming, I stream on Twitch. I normally speedrun Lethal Company or My Friendly Neighborhood, but I do also play Skyrim sometimes. I also post on Instagram. I do time lapses and vlogs of me studying. If that gets you motivated, give me a follow. Now I must leave because I don't want to get the ads rolling for you guys and I don't get paid from YouTube. And that was my university assignment. Now I have to go and edit this video. So bye. Bye.